Welcome back, guys. I trust you've been staying safe. Now, today's true crime story is linked to the ongoing case of Pastor Paul Mackenzie in Tengi of Kenya and the discovery of the bodies of over 100 of his so called church members in scattered shallow graves on several hectares of land owned by him in the Shakahola forest in Kenya. We are zooming in to the life of one of the victims who, at this point, cannot be accounted for: her son, her parents, her sister, and as of now, her brother. This is the true crime story about how an entire family are unaccounted for, allegedly at the hands and the schemes, whims, and caprices of this so called Pastor Paul Mackenzie in Tengi and the so called starvation for salvation that was ongoing in the Shakahola forest in Kenya. If you are ready for this true crime story, just buckle up. Let's go. So, from the ongoing case, it has now emerged that one of the suspected victims was an air hostess who had a high-paying job in Doha, Qatar, and her name is Beatrice Ajenta Charles, better known also in some circles as Betty Charles or Beatrice Betty Charles Ajenta, whichever was okay with people, but it turns out that she's also unaccounted for. Just a few weeks ago, she told her colleagues at work at the airline that she was resigning and then she was coming back to Kenya from Qatar to join this cult and find her salvation. But there's a backstory to her journey. We are going to take our time to go through that backstory first, then we bring it forward to talk about Betty, and then by extension, it will go on to her sister. And then, as of the time of making this video, reports about her brother as well. So, the plot starts from her parents. Now, it is being reported that Betty's parents are actually members of this so-called church of Pastor Paul Mackenzie, and they are old members. They joined the cult or the church, whichever way you want to call it. They joined it earlier, so they had grown in that ministry. And at a point in time, Beatrice decided that she was going to travel to Qatar to pursue her dream job as an air hostess. But she had a son, and she felt that for her to be in a better position to pursue this dream, she had to leave her son with her parents. It's unclear why she didn't leave it with her husband, or she didn't leave him with her husband, but that was the decision that was made. So she left her son in the care of her parents and she traveled to Qatar to pursue her dreams. And rightly so, she was successful. She got the job. Things were looking good. But back in Kenya, little did she know that terror was rising. Because at a point in time, Beatrice's parents reached out to her and informed her that it was no longer important for her son to continue going to school. So they were going to take him to this church of theirs and he's going to just follow along in the worship from there. It's unclear whether Beatrice was okay with it or not, but it's reported that her parents told her if she doesn't want it that way, she should come for her son. I don't know why she didn't, but she didn't. In the end, this young boy was taken to this premises, and unfortunately, due to some weird circumstances, he lost his life, allegedly as a result of a so-called accident that happened on site, where he is alleged to have fallen from a story building. I don't know. There are rumors that there is more to it, and maybe that is not what actually caused his death. But this boy got lost, and Beatrice, a few weeks after that, just came down. So she lost her son in March of 2023, and she came down in April of 2023. and it's alleged that she sold all her things, all her belongings, which were valued in the millions, and she allegedly gave the money to Pastor Paul Mackenzie with the hope that she's coming to join this so-called movement or cult or church and then starve her way to her salvation. This is where it baffles me. If you didn't have the need for all the wealth as a member or a cultist of this group or whatever, a follower of this group, then why give it to the pastor? And why should the pastor accept it? Because if it's not good for the members, definitely it shouldn't be good for the pastor. Or am I going crazy? Let me know what you think in the comment section if you agree with me on this. But that is my thinking. So right from the get-go, I see there is a sort of scam going on here. But that's what she's reported to have done. It didn't end there. From that point, she actually allegedly left a handwritten note addressed to her husband, telling him how much she appreciated him and everything that he had done for her, extending her gratitude to him, letting him know that she loved him and that he won't see her again. You know, it seemed weird. It seemed so weird. But after that, she left and she hasn't been seen since. Now, there's a friend of hers also who came out to indicate that she actually had a sort of dinner outing with her just the day before she would end up getting away and disappearing. And at this session, Betty gave this friend of hers a hair necklace and told her to keep it for her. But this friend seemed to feel that this was a bit odd of Betty because this wasn't her usual behavior. And when she asked why she wanted her to keep her necklace for her, before Betty could come in with an answer, her parents came in and they just shut down the conversation. So fast forward, after Betty's disappearance, this friend is now trying to wrap her head around the fact that maybe that was her way of saying goodbye. And to date, Betty has not been found. Betty is nowhere to be found. So the question mark was, then where is Betty? Bodies are being found in shallow graves, but hers has not yet been identified. So where is she? Because she actually indicated that she was going to this so-called church or cult to worship with them and starve her way to her salvation. And as if that was not bad enough, it then extended to Betty's sister called Constance. Now, for Constance's case, she was a military officer, allegedly, and she quit the military, allegedly, and just joined this cult. And she is also nowhere to be found. And as of the time of making this video, there are reports coming in also that their brother is also unaccounted for and no one knows of his whereabouts, but there is suspicion that he may have also moved to join this cult. So it's beginning to look like the entire family may have gone to join this cult. But my question is, who was the instigator? Who brought all the other members of the family to join this cult? I have a suspicion, a theory, that maybe it could have been the parents. Because from the reports, they are older members of that ministry. They've been in it for so long and they are actually having some positions in there. So I think there's a scheme going on where you go in, you rise, and then you are tasked to bring members of your family, convert them to join. And I feel this could be one of the avenues that has led to where we are now, where Betty, her sister, and even allegedly their brother are all unaccounted for, but suspiciously linked to these disappearances that have happened to most of these cult members. This story is still unfolding, and I'm just praying that we wouldn't have an update that Betty, her sister, and her brother, or even any more members have been found dead in a shallow grave, but maybe they are alive and just need a little medical assistance. It is so sad, the level of indoctrination that has gone into this. You can see that this pastor, as alleged, has really done a number on these people, because some people were rescued alive from the forest by the police, and you have some of them insisting vehemently that they want to go back, and it left me wondering, what are you going back for? People have lost their lives, but they believe that some way, somehow, those who lost their lives are actually lucky because they found their way to the salvation. God, this is twisted, man. This is so twisted. But we are still waiting to see how things play out. I am a bit curious to see how the law will handle this, how the justice system of Kenya will handle this whole thing, because it has to do with spirituality, and we are yet to hear of direct evidence pointing to Paul as being at the center of the death itself. He's being treated as a suspect, but we are waiting to see how the charges will be narrowed down and actually stick for prosecution to commence. Keep our fingers crossed. RIP to the victims and their families. And I was wondering also if all these shallow graves contained over 100 bodies. How come there were no reports of these people being missing? Unless maybe there was and it wasn't publicized because a deeper investigation was ongoing. I don't know, but there are so many question marks here. Following this story keenly, I'll bring these updates as and when they are available. Subscribe to the channel if you already haven't done so. It's free, but it helps us to grow. Thank you for helping us hit 1K. Leave a comment in the comment section. And as I always say, please stay safe out there and keep an eye out.